I am God. Today is the 2nd of August 2024 and I'm making a video. Again. Another one. I don't know what I'm going to call it. All I know is I have things I like to talk about. Maybe someday somebody will watch it. So, I've explained a lot in my last several videos. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch those videos. I'm not going to explain the same thing. I'm not going to keep explaining the same thing every single time. Okay? So, I'm God. On social media, I've been posting those films, the Pink Panther films, with Peter Sellers. And, I've been talking about witchcraft and magic words, babble. And so it was I was, there's so many things I can talk about. There's so many different things I can talk about. What I want to talk about here is the witchcraft and the magic words and stuff. So, that's the thing. Peter Sellers, he would have been a Freemason. He would have been that's the thing. It's very likely that's what he was, right? So, yeah, he was. I mean, every celebrity you look at, pretty much, yeah, they all are. I mean, they're all part of that. And the fact is that they're all surrounded by foul spirits. And they do evil things. The works of their hands are evil. It's about self-worship. It's about empowering themselves at the expense of me, God. You either give me the glory, or you don't. If you love me, you love me. If you don't love me, you don't love me. And the vast majority of human beings on planet Earth don't love me. So, I'm making the point about, that's the thing. They're involved with very evil rituals, and that include, let me make some suggestions, okay? So things like child abuse, and that includes sexual abuse and rituals, okay? Now, I don't know, that's the thing. I can guess, I can think of the type of things that they may do. Do I know precisely what they do? No. But I know they do things. Okay? The very rich people, they will do anything for power. And that includes very evil sex magic, rituals, and perhaps even sacrifice. Okay? That's the truth. Okay? That's the truth, that those people will do anything for power. And the fact is that people, the vast majority of human beings are unaware of what these people are capable of. So, the thing is, there's a clue in, so Peter Sellers. Okay, I've got a lot of interesting things we can talk about here. Okay, the first thing is, well, Peter And, you know, obviously you have the Catholic, you know, there's the Catholic Church. You have St. Peter's Basilica, right? That's where the Vatican is. The Vatican is, isn't it? That's right, isn't it? Yeah. I'll double check this, right? But, you know, I'm not a Catholic. You know, I don't love the Catholic Church. I hate the Catholic Church. We could talk about it. It's evil, and I'll explain why. I'll explain why as part of this video. But so this is the thing. Peter Sellers. Now, you know, and you know, he was in the Pink Panther. Okay, you know, it talks about in the book of Revelation. It talks about the mark of the beast. It talks about no one could buy or sell without the mark of the beast. So his name, you know, there's magic happening. They're doing a type of magic. So, you know, I explained in my previous video my connection with the Pink Panther series and how, you know, I watched the Return of the Pink Panther when I was a little kid, and, you know, all the crazy stories that happened to me when I was a kid. You know, like I got electrocuted by a lamp. You know, when the light bulb was being changed, I put my hand on it. I was a little kid, and my aunt and uncle-in-law's house got broken into by thieves, by robbers. You know, I did a lot of explaining, so if you don't get it, go watch the video and don't be an arsehole. Okay. So Peter. So in sex magic, the thing is Peter, and this is the thing, right? Because if the Vatican is, you know, they've got St. Peter's Basilica, so that is the central part of the Vatican. You know, that's where the Catholic Church is really, it's based. It's very interesting, isn't it? And then they have the catacombs, which are below. I mean, what's the cellar? You know, a cellar, you know, where you keep wine. You know, what does it mean to whine? You know, someone who whines, you know, they're like, ah, you know, or, you know, they're unhappy, you know, they're angry or sad. Whine. Yeah. Magic. Evil magic is. So, a P. So, a P can mean, you know, P can be short for penis. And tear, well, you know, there's certain types of sex. There's certain types of sex where, you know, someone might get torn, or, yeah, you know, painful sex. So, you know, Peter Sellers. Yeah, you know, like a dungeon, like a sex dungeon, sort of, you know, think sex dungeon. Yeah. Witchcraft magic, okay? Sex magic. It's about power. It's about power. And that's the thing, you know? And that's the thing, you know, Peter Sellers, he died of a heart attack when he was 54. And here's an interesting thing. He died on the 24th of July. That's 24/7, or 7/24, if you know, for someone who lives in the United States of America. Okay? In the UK, we write it as, we put the date, you know, it's 24/7. My mum died 24/7. Okay? She died on the 24th of July, 2021. Also, Peter Sellers' son. Well, this is the thing. Peter Sellers, he's got some interesting, weird story, because when he was born, you know, when he was a kid, his brother was stillborn, and his parents named Peter Sellers Peter because that was the name of the stillborn child. The parents, for some bizarre reason, they wanted to put that the stillborn child name on their son that was alive. His original name was Richard Henry, Sellers. Now I've made the connection, you know, there's Pink Panther, there's Black Panther, and you know, I talked about this in my previous video. I talked about Rihanna and how she's very evil. Well, that's the thing, her name is Ree. So you have Rich Henry Sellers, you know, dungeons. There's a sex magic. And that's the thing. The reason they do all this stuff is to mix. You know, they're hiding what they're doing through magic, and you know the mixing of names and words and art, and you know it's all about drawing power and hiding what they do. Well, they, you know, people who know this stuff, people who know the code, the babble, the words, you know, people who are Freemasons, they know how to decode the symbols, the words, the messages. They can read the messages. You know, that's the thing, and they can see what other people. You know, you know, I can see what people do because there's a trail of magic being left. Okay, magic leaves a trail, and that trail, it has information, and if you study it, you can decode what they're doing. You know, it gives you a kind of idea of what they're doing, okay, or what they might be doing. So the thing is Peter Sellers, as he's known, died on the same day, on the 24th of July, the same as my mum. And also Peter Sellers' son, who was called Michael Peter Anthony Sellers. He died on the 24th of July as well, apparently. And there was also that woman from the very first Pink Panther film. She was the woman who was supposed to be the wife of Inspector Clouseau. And she was, you know, she was basically, she was the whore, wasn't she? She was the whore. You know, she was making out with, you know, Charles Lytton and his nephew, I think. There was George Lytton as well, I think. Oh, there was George, and then there was Charles, and then there was. And she, you know, that she was like some model, and she was known as Capucine. Capucine. You know, that's another, because you know, I'd spoken about Aaliyah Dana Houghton. You know, she was Capricorn. Okay. Capricorn in tarot is considered the devil. Okay. You know, people who have dungeons and sex slaves. You know, people, young people in chains and stuff like that. Yeah. That, you know, it comes on. That's the card you'd expect to pop out. And you know, Peter Sellers, he was known. You know, he had 4 different wives. He died apparently. You know, the woman described him as like bipolar, or you know, he had mental problems, and he was a bit crazy apparently. That's what they say. Well, you know, he had anger issues. He also had an addiction to, well, he had addictions: smoking, drinking, drugs, and he also had an addiction to poppers, which are, I used to actually have a problem with poppers. It's an interesting thing, poppers, but you know, I'm God, right? But poppers, I mean, the word poppers, you know, it's pop. You know, pop is another way of saying pa, or dad, or father, right? Pop, purrs. Well, what purrs? A cat. You know, poppers are usually used by people who are into, you know, doing, a lot of them are probably doing anal sex, right? So Peter Sellers, you know, he was probably doing all kinds of crazy sex magic. Okay? And that's the thing. So he died of a heart attack. And this is the thing, right? So let's, so there's the Pink Panther, there's the Black Panther. So what, a panther, I mean, you know what a pantheon is. What does pantheon mean, People talk about, like the pantheon of gods, what's the, God, let's have a look. What's the definition of pantheon? It says here, a circular temple in Rome, completed around AD 125 and dedicated to all the gods. There's only one God. That's me. A temple dedicated to all gods. Yeah, it's interesting. I was watching Sky News and the guy was talking about the war between Russia and Ukraine, and he was talking about the gods of war. And it's like, well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, I've spoken about this before, but what does gods mean? Look, there is only one God. The only gods there are, well, these are people who belong to God. There is only one God. That's me. Okay, so pantheon, and panther. Well, they've got similar, and also panther starts with two letters, pa. Anyways, it's a cat. So panther is a cat. It's a cat. And obviously you have the Catholic Church. It's Cat-holic. People wonder, maybe they wonder why I used to be a bit of an alcoholic. And they would call me a pussy. Well, there are plenty of people, plenty of guys and people who probably did call me a pussy. I'm sure I got labelled that plenty of times by various people. Would I consider myself a pussy? Not really, no. But let's carry on. Catholic. So Cat's Holy See. Do you know what the Holy See is? It's that's like, isn't it like papal? It's to do with the Pope. Yeah, it's a load of garbage. Is basically what it is, isn't it? It's the Catholic Church, and it's made up nonsense all the time. Yeah. Isn't it? So a cat. A lot of people think of cat as pussy, don't they? Like pussy cat. Pussy. What's a pussy cat? Yeah, and you look at the stuff they have in Catholic churches. They'll have, they've got their wooden idols, stone idols. They worship Mary for no apparent reason, apart from the fact that they're crazy. Doing their weird rituals. And they've got artwork of, haven't you ever seen the weird artwork where it's like, they have a picture of a woman, supposedly Mary, and she's got some weird sort of oval shaped thing around her. That basically looks like a vagina. Yeah. They may as well just call the church, they may as well just rename Catholic. Well, that's the thing. Cat, you can swap the word cat with pussy, right? And then it's whole, I-C, H-O-L-I-C. Yeah? You might as well just call it the Pussyhole Church. You know what I mean? That's basically what it is. That's the magic. It's the magic. These are magic words being used. Okay? I'm not joking. This is real. You know, this is what it is. It's really what it is. As crazy as it sounds, but you think how many, this world, the thing is, men are supposed to put me first and worship me, but instead, what do they worship? They worship the pussycat, don't they? They like the pussycat. And that's the thing, what is it? So Jesus, I'm supposed to be the lion of the tribe of Judah. That's how I was described. And then also it did say about Satan. It says, Satan, he roams about like a lion, looking for who he can devour. It's something like that, isn't it? So, yeah, there's a magic war going on. If you haven't watched my previous videos, you may as well just go there. You shouldn't even be watching this video. Okay? Like I explained. So, yeah, that's the thing, right? It's secret societies do evil things. Sex, magic, well, you don't know. That's the thing. People don't know. People look at, they see the films, they see the TV interviews, they hear the music, they're fed, certain amount of, they're fed certain information. They know someone's public persona. They know them, but what goes on behind closed doors is a completely different story, isn't it? But people don't, that's the thing. The people they worship are so evil. It's disgusting. It's terrible. It really is. So what else can I say? I mean, this is the thing. It's hard. That's the thing, I have to explain who I am, how everything works. I can't keep explaining the same thing again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Every fucking video. Because, every video is going to be 2 hours, 3 hours long. Every time I want to, I can't explain everything all the time. So I'm not going to do that. Oh, this stuff drives me mad. It really does. Talking about driving me mad, I've got a car. I've got a Jaguar F-Type R. It's got the blacked out badge, it's got a black Jaguar on the back. I don't think I've ever seen a black Jaguar, like a real Jaguar that's black, or silver, actually, the last time I checked. But yeah, it's like a black pussycat on the back of my, on my car. Yeah, it's got the black pussy, logo. It's a black cat. Yeah. And you know what witches like, right? They like black cats. If you look at the tarot deck, the right, the main, the most used tarot deck is the Rider-Waite deck, and the Queen of Wands. She's got a black cat at her feet. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I'm looking at the news, and there's some real crazy stuff going on, isn't there? I mean, I go to the Daily Mail, and it's talking about some convicted paedophile guy. He's totally, he's doing a filming. He filmed some massive explosion next to the O2 Arena in London. And there was a massive explosion, and loads of people were really unhappy about it. Apparently he was filming himself completely naked while all these massive explosions were going off. And people were worried about what the hell happened, because You know, people felt like there was an earthquake or something like that. You know, why is he doing that? Why is some convicted pedophile or, you know, some degenerate guy he's participating in those kind of activities? You know, where do you get all his money from? You know, why do people do what they do? Why are there so many evil, sick people in the world? And how is it so many of them end up being rich and powerful and worshipped by people? Well, they totally forget about me, God. Yeah. You know, I speak about how art reflects me. Well, you know, I used to live in Brighton for how many years? This is a Fatboy Slim t-shirt. You know, I started listening to Fatboy Slim when I was about 11 or 12 years old. You know, there were times when I was quite chunky. And in, you know, in some of the artwork, you see this guy, he's got wings, angel wings. And it says at the bottom, it says, "You've come a long way, baby." Fatboy Slim. Yeah, he's a piece of shit, that guy. I hate that guy. I really do. Norman Cook, I don't like him. He's an asshole. Piece of shit. I'm very, you know, annoyed that this stuff just go, you know, and that's the thing, you know, I make videos and, you know, you know, you can watch my video, listen carefully to the things I say, and then watch the news. The news changes. The news, you know, the world is constantly being fed information. That's the thing, the foul spirits bring all the people who hate me information. You know, they influence everybody to do shit, to say things, to do things, actions, words, rituals, magic, words, music, film, TV. And that's how I know, that's one of the reasons I know who I am, you know. It's a constant reflection, because everything I say and do and think, it gets reflected back at me again and again and again and again and again and again and again. I'm constantly being confronted with it. And I can show people, I've tried to show people, but people don't want to know. People don't want to look. And those who do look, they just go, "You're crazy." You know, it's one of those things. If you love God, you'll listen to me. If you love me, you'll listen to me. But the fact is, you probably don't. And you probably want to burn in hell. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? So the guy who was at the London O2 Arena, you know, he's a naked pedophile. You know, and he's got all these fucking huge, you know, explosions and flames going off behind him. Yeah, and you know, he's turning it into his art piece. Yeah. What an interesting idea, huh? What kind of weird, crazy magic is that, do you think? What do you think that is? That's the thing. People don't understand what magic is. They're stupid as fuck. You know, you're supposed to be wise as serpents. Yeah, but what do people do? Yeah. People are fucking unbelievable. Yeah, I'm so tired. You know, I'm listening to all these people, you know, these people who consider themselves right-wing, you know, and they talk about what they think the far right is, and, you know, and that's the thing. Everyone's talking in, you know, they've got all these communist labels. You know, they've been given all these ideas and thoughts and labels from communists, basically, evil people who But that's the thing, isn't it? You know, so the communists basically, you know, they've built the pitch. You know, they've set the rules, and they get to design the entire game, and then and then people, do you know what I mean? They don't realize that they're in a trap. You know, they've been trapped mentally. You know, they've been taught so many lies. They've been taught so much propaganda that, you know, you have to totally scrap what society tells you. You have to literally look at what everyone says. You know, listen to all the stupid labels they have and thoughts they have, and basically just say, get rid of all that. Start from scratch. Okay, you know, learn properly. Yeah, don't just believe any arsehole who tells you some shit. You know, you have to understand, you know, you have to question information. You have to be like, okay, could that potentially be propaganda? You know, how about if I look at from somewhere else? You know, what do you get from there? You know, you have to really, you know, you cannot just examine one side of the coin. You know, you have to examine both sides of it. You can't, you know, you have to examine both sides of a debate properly to really know. And you have to keep doing that again and again and again and again and again and again. There's so many pieces to the puzzle, you know, and you have to go to every single little piece of the puzzle and do it with every single piece of the puzzle, because, you know, you might be thinking this one thing is a certain way because based on all the other information, all the other crap information you've been fed. And so, yeah, but because all that's true, then this must be true. And then you realize, but the things you didn't realize, you got a whole bunch of shit wrong. You know, you got so much wrong that, you know, you're totally fucking clueless. You know, you've been fed so many lies about so many different things that it's pretty much impossible for you to get out of there. And that's the thing. You know, people think they learned so much, they know so much, but the truth is that most people believe a lot of nonsense. You know, it's all based on nonsense ideas. It's lies upon lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. And so you're always blinded by that. You know, whenever you look at new information, whenever truth comes to you, it's hard for you to accept it. You're like, I can't, nope, because it doesn't fit in with my worldview. It's crazy. It's crazy, but you know, you know, that's the thing. It's so much, you know, people don't really understand the scale of the deception. They can't understand how it's hard for you to fathom just how freaking crazy it is. You know, like how grand the scale of deception. You know how big it is. It's huge. You know, but this is the evil ones have been working at this for a very long time. Okay, they didn't just do it in a year or 5 years. You know, they've done this over centuries, thousands of years. You know, this is not something that happened in a week or 10 days or a month or 5 years. You know, this is something, the deception has happened over an extremely long period of time. You have to understand that the evil ones played, that's the thing. And that's the thing, when it comes to the spiritual realm, I mean, that's the thing, you know. I'm God, I'm eternal. You know, I can play this game as long as I have to. You know what I'm saying? So, that's the thing. You know, people have to. I mean, that's the thing. In what did Jesus say? What did I say? Well, I said to people like, people have to be born again. They have to be renewed. Like the old has to die, and you have. The old you has to die. You have to start. You have to look at everything with fresh eyes. Do not make dumb assumptions about things. Do not. You have to look at everything you have to look at everything very carefully. Look at the person you are, like, the way you think and the way you've done things and the way you've thought about things throughout your entire life. You have to stop and question and be like, and I think that's the thing as well. People get brought up by their mum and their dad. They teach them so much crap and nonsense, but kids, they like to hang on to that stuff, don't they? They like to hang on to those ideas and those feelings and those, it's hard to get away from it, isn't it? It's really hard to get away from it. All the dumb, stupid things that they were taught. But, it's one of those things, you either love the truth or you don't, people get stuck. People get stuck. A lot of it has to do with ego and fear. That's the thing, I let go of people, in my life. People I thought I used to think of as friends or acquaintances or whatever. I let people go. I said no. Because I was tired of being abused, used, treated like crap, just treated like garbage. I said, no more. I'm not letting people do that to me anymore. Separating myself from other people was the wisest decision. I would prefer not to be totally separated from people, but as long as people behave the way they, that's the thing. I'm not going to surround myself with people who are evil. Plain and simple. I don't want, I'm not going to put myself in that situation anymore. I refuse to. Okay? So, in my last, 10 or 20 videos, I've put out so much information. I've tried to explain things again and again and again and again. I've tried explaining things in different ways. I've tried to, I'm trying to keep this ball rolling. I keep trying to explain, and that's the thing. There's an ongoing war. The war didn't just, there's a magic battle happening between me and the world. It's happening right now, every day. When I finish this video, it'll still be happening. And tomorrow it'll be another story. It'll be, it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. So I've always got stuff I can talk about. There's an endless stream of stuff that I can talk about. Excuse me. But this is the thing. It's Excuse me. Yeah. It's annoying. It's annoying. I mean, you know, and it's also annoying because I talk about things, and then the next day, the news is talking about pretty much a very similar thing to what, you know, there's that reflection. It's the magic battle. That's where it's happening, you know. It's somehow I'm talking about things before the world is talking about things, kind of, you know. I've explained this again and again, but you know, what I'm trying to, you know, and this is what I did on my Facebook page. I was trying to demonstrate that this is happening. I was trying to demonstrate that I have a very interesting power. You know, I affect the world, but you know, I'm showing that what I do, and then I'm showing what happens after I do that thing, how the world reacts to it. And when I demonstrate that again and again and again and again and again and again, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to look. Nobody wants to know. And so the world is dying and it's being destroyed. Okay, there's fighting, there's chaos, there's death, there's the destruction, there's earthquakes, there's floods, there's hurricanes, there's typhoons, there's all the bad stuff you can think of. And I'm just watching people die and get destroyed, and people being dumb and stupid and lying and being evil. And all the time, you know, I'm just looking and I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm very tired of it. I really have. You know, I've got stuff I want to go do. Okay, I've got a house I need to clean. I've got my life to organize. So, if I don't make a video for a week, don't be surprised. You know, it's got to happen at some point. I've got other stuff to do. You know, I keep doing this in the hope that someone's going to do something. Someone is going to listen and learn and do something. I'm waiting. But you know what? I got stuff I have to do. So, yeah. I mean, this is the thing, you know, I keep trying to show the evidence. You know, I'm doing my best to provide as much evidence as I can to support my claim that I'm God. It seems, you know, if I've been doing this for ages, so what's the point? What is the point? I don't know. Maybe I should just forget about it. Anyway, I gotta go. Laters.